Welcome to Green and Woke on YouTube. We hope you enjoyed this segment. The link to the entire podcast can be found in the description box. Well, hello, we're back. This is Green and Woke, and I'm your host, Kimberly Ryans. We have a very exciting guest today, Crystal McCreary. Hi, Crystal. How are you today?
Hello, Kimberly. I am so well. I'm so grateful to be here.
Oh, great. Glad to have you. So let's jump right into it. You're going to tell us all about yoga. So let's start with the basics. What is yoga? Your basic definition.
Yes, that's a really great question because, I think in our culture, especially here in America, with this huge industry that yoga has become, we take for granted that people know what yoga is. And actually, there's a lot of different types of yoga out there that really aren't inclusive of the whole practice that it is. So the definition of the word yoga, it's a Sanskrit word, and it means to yoke.
Oh, okay.
So if you think of exactly, right? Like who?
Right, exactly.
Right. So the word yoke, if you think about like an ox or a horse that is yoked to a cart or a carriage, right?
Oh.
That animal would, when you bring those two things together, that there's now this connection, and now this horse can be a source of, movement for the carriage, right?
Wow.
So the idea of the word yoga, meaning yoke, right? When we yoke something, we are bringing it together. We're unifying. We're connecting. We're integrating. Yes.
Wow.
Exactly.
That's profound.
So that's what the word yoga means.
Okay.
So if you take that word and you kind of zoom it out, right, to think about how as human beings, right, we have elements of ourselves that we could say are almost like different dimensions of ourselves, right? We have a physical body, right? That's one element of the human, right? We obviously know we have a mental body. We can think, right? We have a brain that, processes information. There's that part of ourselves.
Right.
We also have, some people might say we have a spiritual body. Some people, you might not use the word spirit depending on your background, but I think we can all agree that there's something that animates us. That,
yes.
When we pass on, like the spirited element of ourselves, whether you want to call it that word or not, right? It's not there, right? We're not a body without being alive.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. So there's these different elements, right? There's also like an emotional element, right? Which is also connected to the mental element, but like we have emotions, right? We have a sense of being able to feel not just physical sensation, but emotional qualities, right?
Right.
And so if you think about the fact that we are all these different parts, you'll probably be able to recognize that in some places in our life, one element of ourself is dominant, right? Like if you're in the workplace and you're like a CEO of like a Fortune 500 company, you are probably really, really working the heck out of your mental dimension, right? Like your to-do list is probably long. You're probably having a lot of meetings. You have to be really prepared. Probably there's the element of type A in there.
Yeah.
Right? So you're like, that part of you is driving your experience.
Okay.
Now, take that same CEO, put him in a gym. What is he working out at the gym?
The physical body. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So most of us we kind of have this way of compartmentalizing the elements of ourselves. And yoga is literally an ancient because it's technically over 5,000 years old. Right?
Whoa, okay.
It's an ancient technology that is intended to support us yoking or bringing together all of these typically quite disparate elements of ourselves so that we can function holistically, right? Wholly in each area of our life.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm so glad you explained it that way. That makes so much sense. Wow.
So when you think about that, like that's a useful tool because what can happen, like when you think about like, okay, how is it like I think we can all identify with like having our body in the room, right? At a meeting.
Right.
But our mind is elsewhere. Right?
Yes. Been there.
Or we're thinking about what we gonna make for dinner.
Exactly.
Right?
All over the place.
To the grocery store by the time, all the things. But our body, we're not there. We're not present. We're not in our lives. And so, there are ways to use this tool to literally become more whole, but for the purpose of thriving in our lives.
Oh.
Right? So that we are not depleted because one area, right, one element of ourselves isn't getting fed. Right? How can we bring our whole selves to every area? That's why yoga is such a powerful tool. Now, most people think of yoga as the physical element only, right? Like there's something called asana, which is a pose practice. And most contemporary yoga studios are teaching usually asana, which is, the pose practice, and breathing practices, but that's it, right? And yoga technically has like 8 different categories of experiences to explore to help us become more whole. Right?
Really?
And so that's really what yoga is. And there's in today's world, there's like a kind of brand or type of yoga probably for almost every human being. And generally speaking, I'm often of the feeling that, listen, if it gets somebody on their mat to breathe and move and focus their attention and notice how they're feeling and to connect to themselves, it's all good, right? And yet there are some practices out there that are harmful for whatever reason, depending on the person, right? Because everybody's coming into a yoga studio space with different emotional and social needs. So, some types of yoga may not really support others. And my whole philosophy is, how can we make this accessible and inclusive and adaptive for all human beings?
Right.
Want access to these practices. So, there are some yoga styles that I would probably say are maybe more supportive of that mission than others. But yoga is definitely not just a physical exercise-like practice. There's so much richness to the tradition. And for the purpose of really, I think, ultimately helping us all be more radiant, more vital, and just more alive in our lives.
Okay. Yeah. So it's you don't have to practice a particular religion or faith to practice yoga, right?
No. You definitely don't. And there are definitely, elements like yoga. If you look at its origins, it has origins. A lot of people, scholars of this practice, could definitely link it to a particular religion, But most yoga studios and spaces are teaching a secular form of the practice in the sense that the actual tools that you're getting, like breathing and concentration exercises or meditation, right? Because the word meditation essentially means concentration.
Right.
But these tools they're universally applied, right? So you can be of any religion and get the benefits of breathing practice because guess what? Everybody has a body that breathes.
That's it. That is
right?
so true, yeah.
You don't have to be a particular religion,
right.
And nor do you have to approach your yoga practice as a form of religion because for most people it's not. It's just not. It's not usually taught that way.
Okay, because some people do have that block up, well, I'm not of that religion, to meditate and what have you, because they've put a stigma on it and they've categorized it in one place, and it's really not like that. So thank you.
It really isn't. And, I actually teach kids. I teach kids and I teach school settings.
Okay.
And it would absolutely not be appropriate.
That's it.
To teach kids, and that's not why I'm teaching the kids yoga.
Right.
My goal in teaching kids, I'm teaching other people's children. That's not my job to teach them a religion.
That's it. That's it.
Setting.
Yeah.
That's not that's no teacher's job in that setting.
Right.
But what I am supporting those kids to do through the practice is regulate their nervous system through slow, deep nasal breathing. Helping them discharge some of those stress hormones. Kids today are really stressed out in school.
Oh, aren't they? Yeah, they're faced with so much.
They're faced with so many challenges, and they're overcome by, things like constantly being standardized tested. And, they're just social pressures, right? Bullying, all the things that are happening with our kids. For them to support them to self-soothe and to recognize that they might not be able to change their environment, but they can change their internal environment. That's a powerful practice.
Oh,
right?
wow. I could see that. how that could
So
be
I
so
don't teach,
helpful for kids.
exactly. And I don't really, I don't teach kids. There's no other, there's not a lot of other reasons to teach kids yoga, and when you think about, like, from a religious perspective, like,
Right.
why would I, what role does that have in a school setting? Right?
That's true.
It doesn't have one. So, yes, there are definitely people who, I want to honor people's feelings. And my classes, public or in school settings, are always an open door.
Okay.
So that people will feel safe to just sort of poke their head in, see what's going on, see if it's the right thing for them. That should always be, that's always an option. And I think that people should feel like they can, be curious and have an experience. And then if it's not for them, opt out and move on to the next thing.
Right.
It may not be the right thing for everybody. That's okay.
But you did touch on some of the health benefits when we were speaking of the kids. So what are some of the health benefits overall for adults, seniors, or, stressed out, employees? So please touch on that, because I can see how that would be.
Yes, and I can just say that obviously if our kids are stressed out, we're stressed out.
100 times over, exactly.
The stress they're living in, we did.
Yes.
And they're definitely absorbing our stress vicariously through us, and then imitating our stressful patterns and habits and ways of being. So for all of us, the children, adolescents, and adults, the most powerful tool that yoga offers as a health benefit is the sort of nucleus around which all the other things that you do in a yoga class revolve, which is slow, deep nasal breathing.
Oh, okay.
So, yes. And the reason why, and this is something, again, like these ancient yogis knew this, thousands of years ago.
Oh, goodness.
When we breathe in and out through our nose, we're bringing on the part of our autonomic nervous system that is called the parasympathetic nervous system.
Oh.
And the parasympathetic nervous system, when we are in that mode of our nervous system, what's happening in our body is also nicknamed the rest and digest mode.
Oh.
And so what that means is all of our body's normal metabolic functions are online.
Oh.
That means things like cell renewal, right? Cell growth. Your immune system is healing you. Digestion is happening. Elimination is happening. You are able to be at rest and literally sleep, right?
Wow.
In a deep, complete way.
Hmm.
In an ideal world, in order for us to be vital, we would all be functioning in our rest and digest or parasympathetic nervous system arousal all the time.
Oh, okay.
However, look at the world we live in, right?
In the real world, exactly. Yeah.
Right. And you turn on the TV, you watch the news today with all the things that are happening in our world, and your heart rate can, literally go skyrocket.
Yes, I feel that. I get so stressed out just watching the news sometimes. I know exactly what you're talking about. Oh, my goodness.
Similarly, being connected to social media and all the pings and the likes and there's, I don't know if you know this, but there are research studies that show that every time somebody likes something that you wrote or you share or, somebody writes a comment, that there's literally this tiny little amount of dopamine that gets...
Are you serious? I had no idea.
It literally creates this high in our body. And then, of course, if we're not getting the likes, it says the opposite, right? It depletes us. And there's there are definitely depression, especially in adolescents, is linked to what is happening on their social media. So the stress, that up and down.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, if you can believe that. But it's true of the stimulation from social media, the stimulation from what we're watching on the screens, the devices that we're seeing. Add to that very, very obviously stressful circumstances that vary depending on, your life's circumstances. Things like poverty, racism, not having access to good health care, a stimulating and safe educational environment. Right? These are all things that create a stress response inside of our body. And what happens when we are in stress mode? The stress part of when we're stressed out, the part of our nervous system that turns on is called the sympathetic nervous system.
Okay.
And when our sympathetic nervous system is online, that is like our emergency response mode. And all of our body's normal metabolic functions, all those things I mentioned before when we're in rest and digest mode, those are now completely offline. None of that stuff is happening because our body is trying to survive the danger or the threat of whatever the poverty, the circumstance from poverty that's occurring. You know, maybe it's a trauma situation. Maybe there's violence, right? Maybe your body is trying to help you survive a circumstance that is dangerous because of violence, right? All these different stressors create an internal environment in the body where your body is not functioning optimally. If you are someone who is chronically stressed out, whether it's stress from the job, stress from your social and emotional circumstances, stress from social media, stress from television media, right? Like whatever it is.
Right.
What's happening chronically inside your body is your body is never being given a chance to function optimally. Right? So your physiological systems are not online, right? And so if you're not healing, if your immune system isn't online perpetually, guess what? The body starts to break down.
Disease,
and that's
yes.
That's when
so
sickness.
You know the
expression, stress kills? It's true.
There you go.
It really does kill. Because over time, if you don't give yourself something to put a pause on that stress, then you are depleting yourself. So the yoga piece comes in because when we breathe through our nose slowly and deeply, again, that is bringing that parasympathetic nervous system online through a part of a nerve. It's called the vagus nerve. It's attached to the brainstem. When you breathe through your nose, it stimulates the vagus nerve, and then it sends a message throughout your whole body. It says everything is okay. Keep on functioning, liver. Keep on functioning.
You have permission.
Keep on functioning, circulatory system, like all the systems, right? Like neuroendocrine system. Please stay in balance. Keep doing what you're doing.
That's fascinating.
Just breathe, and it is. And that is literally what happens when we pause and breathe in an intentional way through our nose, slowly and deeply. And so a lot of people think, like, self-care in general is like it requires a whole like trip to the nail salon and a spa and massage, and like just being able to take a minute and breathe and notice your surroundings, connect with your body, notice how you're feeling, notice what's happening around you. That is a powerful form of self-care, and that really is what yoga is all about. When that yoga teacher has you in like Warrior 2 for 5 breaths and your thigh is burning, what are they saying to you? Right? They're saying, breathe. Breathe.
Wow.
Notice your breath. Connect with your breath, because they're supporting you to practice. When you feel stressed out or when you feel challenged, they're supporting you to recognize these resources that you have that are inside you.
Yes, that we are walking around with. Exactly. Unbelievable. They said we have everything we need to survive. So apparently,
it's true.
Just to stop and breathe. Exactly.
If you ask me.
Unbelievable.
Black taxes, try yoga.
Okay.
Black tires, try yoga.
There we go. Okay. So, can you tell me what's meant by mindfulness? What is that?
Mindfulness, yes. So mindfulness, and for me, to be honest, yoga is meant to be approached in a mindful way.
Okay.
When it's practiced in the true spirit of what that word yoga means, right? The word yoga means to yoke, to connect, right? So mindfulness is a way of connecting through a lens, it's a way of noticing what's happening within you, what's happening with people around you, what's happening in your environment, through a lens of kindness and curiosity and present moment awareness.
Wow. Okay.
So what that really means, let me just break that down for a second.
Okay.
To unpack that, there's a lot in there.
Okay.
Right? Most of us are not paying attention right here, right now. We're already on to the next thing. You know we are, girl.
That's it. Right? That's how it goes.
We're like spinning in our mind, all with the to-do list, what's coming next.
Mm-hmm.
What, you know, and there's a whole world that's happening right here, right now.
Mm-hmm.
That
in the present. Right. Mm-hmm.
So mindfulness is a tradition, right, of that, you know, it's a secular tradition of meditation, right? Meditation meaning concentration, but it specifically is helping us to begin to really attune to what is happening right here, right now.
Okay.
It's not about changing what's happening right here, right now. It's just about noticing. And the interesting thing about paying attention and noticing our experience is that what you bring your attention to and the quality of attention that you give it informs what your experience becomes.
Ooh.
Right? So in other words, yes, I know. I'm going there today. I'm going there. I got your neuroscience for you.
Yes.
But if you think about it, like, you know, most of us, again, like, if we're paying attention right here and right now with kindness and curiosity, there's never a dull moment.
That's true. Right? That's true.
Right? And so life becomes way more interesting.
Yes, it does. I can imagine. Right? I can see that. Yes. You're fully aware in the present moment what is going on around you. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's really what mindfulness is. And there are exercises and practices that you can use to help you strengthen that capacity to approach life through that mindful lens. So, for instance, you might focus your attention in the present moment with kindness and curiosity on your breath.
Okay.
You could also focus your attention on eating your meal, right? Really noticing, what does this food taste like that I'm eating right now? Right? Being in the moment. Most of us are like stuffing our faces because we got to get on to the next thing. We're like
on to the next.
Multitasking.
Yes.
You know? So you can make any practice. You can make turning on the light in your room a mindfulness practice. I'm telling you, like, life is a perfect playground to explore mindfulness. And when we practice yoga in an ideal world, we are also practicing yoga in that present moment.
Okay.
So that's a good way.
So that leads me to ask about how does yoga support a more mindful approach to thriving compassionately in the community and more harmoniously within the environment? So
yes, well, when I think about paying attention, first, you know, we have to start with ourselves.
Yes.
Like, fundamentally, there's a lot happening within us.
Right.
All the time that most of us are not really paying attention to, right? Our internal experience has a huge impact on how we act externally in the world, how we act.
Yes.
You know, I work with a lot of people who are struggling with, you know, inside. And so how do they show up in class? They're challenging. They're difficult, right? Because who they're being, how they're acting is a reflection of how they feel.
Wow.
Right? So all behavior is communicating a need. Or an unmet need, especially when it's challenging. And so when we start to shine the light of attention and awareness on how we feel, what happens is we can actually start to notice what we need and then give ourselves what we need and have through a compassionate manner. Okay. And when we start treating ourselves and with compassion, we start to recognize, oh, guess what? Everybody around me deserves that same compassion.
That's it. Right.
We are all challenged.
Yes, going through something. Everyone is going through something. It might not be the same thing you are challenged with. Right, right. But at times, we've all been through.
And when we can become more compassionate, right, have more empathy for the experiences of others, we can act from a compassionate place with those people. We start to choose our words more wisely. We start to act, right, and take action with more compassionate attention. And similarly, this impacts our actual environment, because when you start to see these relationships, these connections between the relationships, right, how I act in my environment, right, what I do, what I say impacts the energy around me. It literally impacts the environment. Like
that's
the trees,
true.
like Like for every action there is a reaction. And when you become aware, right? Mindfulness is about becoming aware. This is about paying attention. When you start to become aware, you can't just overlook or deny the experiences of others.
That's true.
You can't just overlook or deny what's happening in our environment that literally impacts us, right? Like, we were just talking, offline a moment ago about that chemical fire in Texas that just happened, and those actions, right? Whatever happened was obviously an accident, but now it's having an impact on the environment.
That's true.
The people in that community are affected by the air quality.
Yes.
That air quality is now going to impact their health and the way how they're breathing, how the water that they get, all these things, right?
Yes.
And so when we're really acting in a mindful way, we make better choices. We have this capacity to choose how we're behaving, as opposed to just like acting habitually or reacting impulsively.
That's it.
That's it. So when you think about how this, like, if we're all being more mindful, then there's the potential for us to thrive compassionately in our communities together.
That would be lovely. Oh, what a ideal world that would be. Oh my goodness.
Yes. This is why I do this work in the world. I'm an idealist at heart. I just want to make it all better for everybody.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you for doing this. Look, I feel so calm and centered just having this conversation with you. So I can imagine being in your presence and going through the motions. That would be amazing.
Well, yes, and that I actually, you're in Texas, but
I'm coming to New York soon, so I'm definitely going to have to visit. Because you teach and you also lead retreats as well, don't you?
I do.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So I do a lot of mindful travel experiences, which literally are what we were just talking about. It's like it's a way to practice being in community with other people, usually people you don't know.
Oh, okay.
So it's a beautiful way to connect. I mean, I know them,
right?
We don't necessarily know each other.
Exactly.
And so, we go to incredible destinations. This summer, we have a trip to Bali. And you can find that actually on my website.
Okay, yes. Let me get all of that information.
Yeah. crystalmccrearyyoga.com. That's just Crystal spelled regular, and then McCreary, MCCREARY.
Okay.
Yoga.com. So on there, I have a retreat section, and so some of these trips are to places like Bali. In the fall, we have a south of France trip. But each destination that we choose it for a reason, right? So there's a cultural piece, there's a cultural immersion piece, there's a service piece, there's a mindful exploration piece, right? There's a play, a movement, joy element to each of these trips. But the beautiful thing about it is that we're co-creating a community as a way to practice, like, how are we going to be in this new environment that it's being generously shared with us by the people who live here, and how are we going to treat them, how are we going to treat each other as practice for just being our best selves in our world wherever we are, whether it's back home. And so usually I do about 3 trips a year.
Okay.
This year, actually in April is coming up so quickly now. But April 11th to the 17th, I'm doing a yoga retreat in Tulum. And the theme for that one is embodied love. I have a Bali trip coming up, as I mentioned, and then a South of France trip. Those are the big retreats for this year. And then I also teach adults as well as children, so I have school programs. One of the things that's really important to me is being able to go into organizations and offer professional development. And that including the themes that we were just discussing now. About how to be mindful and compassionate in our community, so that even in the workplace, right,
we're so needed.
Right. Like, most of us are stressed out at work.
Yes.
Why do we have to be stressed out? Why can't we actually, be mindful and enjoy our work environment? Right. So those are some of the services that I offer. And if you're ever in New York, I'm around, but you can also just meet me. You can bring me to you.
Okay.
meet me with a workshop, or meet me somewhere in the world.
Wow. Yes. So where can we find out more about your classes and events? I know you gave me your website earlier, but let's just repeat that and give us your social media handles. And
yes, indeed. So I'm C. McCreary Yoga on Instagram and on Facebook.
Okay.
And my website is crystalmccrearyyoga.com. Okay. And I have actually on my website, I have lots of fun free giveaways. I have a few free yoga sequences that you can sign up to get for free to your inbox. I also, you'll see really the whole everything that I offer on my website, but absolutely follow me on Instagram, Facebook. We can be best friends for life.
Okay.
but yeah,
that was for me personal. Now
I do feel blessed that like my work is my labor of love. So it is.
You're so passionate about it. I can just sense that you love doing this. Oh, that's wonderful. That is wonderful. So yes, so we'll definitely put your information on our social media pages and have all of your links there. And you just told everybody where they can find you. Oh my God, your retreats sound amazing.
Oh my goodness, I almost forgot. I have something this weekend if you're in New York, which it's actually a one-day immersion, May 30th, for women of color. And then I also have a retreat. It's a short weekend retreat though here in New York. It's called Pause and Press Play. It's a rejuvenation retreat.
Oh, okay.
For women of color. So those are things that are coming up. They're also on my website. You can see them. I have so many things happening. Sometimes I forget which.
I bet.
Until they're right in front of me. But,
so everybody check her calendar because she has it in print on her website. So just in case she forgot to mention it, it's so much. Yeah. Okay. Well, Crystal, thank you so much for stopping by Green and Woke today. This has been very informative, relaxing. I'm telling you, I was just so centered just listening to you and talk about, yoga, and it was so much information. Oh my God. So I'm definitely going to get myself in gear to try to go in that direction.
There's some great yoga in Houston, girl. So I hope you do soon.
Yes.
Let me know how it goes.
Okay, I will.
All right.
Well, thank you, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, that's a wrap. Thank you for joining us. Tune in next month for an all-new episode of Green and Woke. And remember to keep it simple, keep it constant, keep it green, and together we can build a better planet.